I'm gonna do a quick review over the movie Dumbo, not the animated one, the new one that came out by Disney Studios, and it was directed by Tim Burton. Now, when you think Tim Burton, I don't know about you, but for me personally, I think about Nightmare Before Christmas, Batman, the first Batman, Batman Returns. I'm talking about the ones with Michael Keaton as Batman, Edward Scissorhands. You know, I'm thinking dark, gloomy colors and, you know, memorable scenes and, you know, visuals. I'm not thinking about a cute little elephant in a circus. But so when I first heard about Tim Burton being the director of this movie, I was kind of skeptical, but I'm like, you know what? Whatever. It's so far I've liked the live action Jungle Book, Beauty and the Beast, and Christopher Robin. So I'm sure I'll like this one. And sure enough, once the actual trailer, like the full length trailer came out, not the teaser trailer, it gave me more of a feel of a circus than a Tim Burton movie. So I was like, all right, cool. Like, let me check this out. So I checked it out on Friday. I loved it. I like Dumbo, classic, and I like Peter Pan and Alice in Wonderland. So it was kind of cool to see one of my favorite movies, you know, that was animated, get that live action treatment, and it was done well. Was it scene by scene? No, there was different. You know, obviously it's not 40s, 50s as this movie came out. You know, so they're gonna take elements of this, put it into a new live action movie aimed at a new audience. You know, family, obviously. So, you know, if you haven't seen the movie and don't want to know nothing of the new stuff that's in it, go ahead and just click off. But for the most part, it's just, you know, this but live action with certain scenes, you know, I say tweaked, certain scenes adapted differently. So it starts off with, you know, the story, you know, circus. It's Danny DeVito's character. He's the ringleader, and it's kind of like it gave me that Barnum and Bailey's circus feel, where it's two brothers in one circus, and they travel. Obviously, you know, it's just like in a cartoon movie. You know, travel from town to town. They set up and get put on a show. Miss Jumbo has the baby. Now, Miss Jumbo in this one is she's an Asian elephant from East Asia or something like that, and they had purchased her while she was pregnant. And it's not a stork in this movie, although storks do come out, and I like how they did that scene, because if you remember in the cartoon one, all the storks come and drop off the babies. In this one, it's the middle of the night, and she's kind of looking out like she does in the cartoon movie, and she sees a stork land on one of the trailers, not with a baby lion or any of that. It's just a stork, you know, chilling, taking a rest, and all of a sudden, you know, gets back up and goes fly off with the rest of his buddies. And I kind of liked it because it wasn't necessarily saying, okay, the storks are all here to drop off babies like in the cartoon movie, but it's symbolic, you know what the stork represents, you know, in this movie, and you know what it represents with the whole storks come off and drop off babies. So like the very next day is when you find out that Dumbo was born. So Dumbo's in the little haystack hidden. So, you know, I liked how they did that instead of the stork coming in and dropping off this baby elephant. It's kind of like, you know, it was just a regular animal. They showed it for a moment, took off. Next day, you know, Dumbo's in the picture. And they end up putting Dumbo in an act, and it pretty much follows the same. The only difference is, you know, there's more involvement with the circus people. Colin Farrell plays a war vet, comes back from, I think it was World War II, and he's missing an arm. And he has two kids, a daughter and a son, and they befriend Dumbo and kind of take up, you know, they kind of teach him how to fly. It wasn't a little mouse, it wasn't Timothy in this one. Although there is a little mouse that's wearing there's a little white mouse wearing the same getup like you see here. They don't come out and say his name is Timothy or anything like that. He doesn't talk, but, you know, it still works. And they bring a feather, and the little boy starts playing with Dumbo, you know, like, oh, look, this is how you blow it, just blow it up. And Dumbo inhales it, and all of a sudden he sneezes and his ears flop out, and he starts, like, you know, he's off the ground, like flapping his ears and flying. And that's when they, like, the little girl's like big on science and scientific, you know, theory and all that junk. So they start conducting some experiments with it, and it turns out that Dumbo believes he can fly with the feather, same as the cartoon movie. Michael Keaton's character, he owns a bigger circus in the city. This is where you got the Tim Burton feel, because the city kind of looked like Batman Returns. The way the buildings were structured and all that, and it kind of reminded me of Tomorrowland from Disneyland. He partners up with Danny DeVito. You know, they take all the circus people that Danny has over to, I forgot what they called his circus. But it was some like top-notch, fancy, high-end kind of circus in the city. You know, this guy discovers that there's a flying elephant, you know, because after Dumbo flies for the first time, it makes headline news. Kind of like at the end of the movie, you know. But the end of the movie is really like the middle of the movie or so. And he wants to put Dumbo in an act with his trapeze girl or whatever. And turns out that Michael Keaton, like, he's been in a lot of movies lately. It's a douche. He's a jerk. He ends up firing Danny DeVito's friends, his circus people. He got mad because Dumbo didn't perform how he was supposed to perform. Turns out they sold Dumbo's mom, and Michael Keaton, I guess, was the one that bought her. And he didn't know that, you know, Dumbo and the mom were related. That elephant he bought were related. So he gets rid. He sends off the elephant to get killed off. So then it becomes the whole plan of saving Dumbo's mom, getting Dumbo out of there. And they come up with this plan, and then they ship him out on a boat. And I'm assuming it's like Asia, India, somewhere out there. I don't know. They end up in the jungle, and kind of reminded me of the Jungle Book a little bit. You know, Danny DeVito's circus, you know, it just takes off again. And, you know, now they have different acts. I liked how they have the little girl. She had her own little tent where it's World of Museum or World of Science. So, and Colin Farrell gets like a bionic hand or whatever. It was pretty cool. Overall, I loved it a lot. I liked it. I thought Dumbo was cute. I thought they handled this really well. You know, translating it over to modern times nowadays with, you know, live action and all that. The pink elephant thing I thought was well adapted. Now, obviously, we're not going to have a mouse and an elephant get drunk in front of an audience of family members and little kids. It's going to be a lot of explaining. This, you know, different times. But for that scene, what it was Dumbo was, you know, getting ready to perform or whatever, and he like kind of pops out and he's looking, you know, what's going on outside. And there's these performers with giant rings, and they're creating these giant bubbles, and those bubbles morph into elephants, and they're like pink bubbles. So, you know, it kind of plays the music from the original animated movie. And Dumbo's just like looking on in amazement. You know, he's like bobbing his head a little bit. You know, it was adorable. But yeah, more or less, it's this. You know, some added stuff, and, you know, certain scenes tweaked a bit. I liked it. I know there's a lot of people out there that say, you know, they ruined a perfectly. I've read comments like they ruined a perfectly good classic. Now, you know, when I hear stuff like that, I'm thinking to myself, this wasn't aimed really at your, you know, as a shot to take down your classic memories here. You know, I'm still holding this right here, Blu-ray DVD. You know, you can buy the digital online. It didn't ruin anything. You can still go, you know, watch the original if you want. You don't have to watch the new one. So I don't know how it ruins anything. Your memories are still there. The movie is still there, the original. So, I mean, you got to think about it. Disney's not in the business to make, you know, to cater to your, you know, your classic movies. No, they're in it to make money and produce movies that now, you know, a newer generation. Now, we grew up with this one. Now, a newer generation's growing up with this one. Same thing with the Jungle Book remake and the live-action Beauty and the Beast and the Christopher Robin. You know, they're remaking all these live-action movies, but they're aiming it towards, you know, this newer generation. You know, now they're gonna grow up. This is gonna be their Dumbo. We had our Dumbo, and you know, Lion King and Aladdin are coming out too live action. You know, we had our Aladdin and Lion King back in the 90s. This newer generation is now gonna have, you know, live action Lion King and Aladdin. So, you know, it's not that they're aiming to destroy your, you know, your memories or your childhood or how you view the classic. I mean, you can still watch a classic, for goodness sakes, and just buy the DVD and don't watch the new one. That's all I have to say about that. But yeah, I enjoyed it. You know, if you want to give your thoughts on, you know, if you saw it this weekend and you want to give your thoughts on it, go ahead and do so in the comment section. Like I said, I enjoyed it a lot. I liked it. I like how it ended. I like the little, message, the pretty obvious message there that it doesn't matter. You had Dumbo with the big ears. You had Colin Farrell that comes back with a missing arm. He's missing his left arm. You got the little girl, that's being told, you're a girl, science, it doesn't go together. So you're seeing these three characters, and they're either handicapped or being told, because of this you're handicapped and you can't be doing this. And it just went on to show that, Dumbo went on to do big things, even though he had the big ears. Colin Farrell, had a new prosthetic arm. He still performed. He's like, they didn't let they weren't held back from what was supposed to keep them down in the eyes of the world. So I thought that was pretty cool, pretty much telling you can do whatever you set your mind to. So that's all I have for you guys on Dumbo, the movie by Disney, the live action one. Like I said, you want to give your thoughts on it, you checked it out. Whether it be you liked it, didn't like it, go ahead and do so in the comment section. And that's all I have for you guys. So until next video, you guys have a good one.